Hey everyone, factoring into today's video. I'm very late with today's video, so just quickly get on with it. We're going to be having a look at whether the next 8-10 days in today's video takes us to around the 4th or the 5th of March. It's going to be staying very unsettled for the rest of this week and into next week, but we may see some signs of some high pressure beginning to build in as we go through the first week of March. And it may be a little bit to the east, so perhaps got to think about some easterly winds possibly coming along later on in the first week of March, but that's quite uncertain. I'll show you the charts in a moment. If we go on back to some about the ad sets, links to articles on both pages, have a browse with widgets, and the articles that you're interested in, please click through. Thanks so much for doing that. So there's some wintry showers across the country today, so just starting off with that from Weather Online, and you can see that we've got these pink colours here across Scotland coming down into north parts of England, the high resolution Euro 4 model. So some snow showers up in the north, rain, sleet showers further south across parts of Ireland, southwestern England. As we go through to tonight, snow showers continue across parts of the north and the west, but southeast parts staying largely dry, as has been the case for most of this winter really. These cold snaps have been coming through from the north and the northwest, so the snow has always tended to be in the north and northwest, with very little getting down into the southeast, and it's another one of those that we've had on and off through the winter. We go through into tomorrow morning, still the snow across parts of Scotland, rain, sleet, snow showers, wind showers in other northwestern parts of the country, and then things tend to calm down a little bit as we go through the course of the day tomorrow, and then that should be the end of that little cold snap. Things should get a bit milder then as we go through into middle part of the week. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next 7 to 10 days. We've got the E70F on the left here. The GFS is over on the right. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is there in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. On these charts, blue is extrapolating to low pressure, orange is extrapolating to high pressure. Now, we've got signs of a bit of a change coming up for America. As we move through into March, the trough looks like it's going to be pushed out more towards the west and the northwest, with perhaps a slightly milder westerly to southwesterly flow picking up across some eastern parts of the country. Remember, this is taking us into the start of March, so I think they'll be firmly locked in the freezer for this week, but next week things could start to moderate. Probably not lasting all that long, but things may start to moderate a little bit in the east of the states next week. It's the same on the GFS as well, same sort of idea, but trough in the west and the northwest, with this ridge building down to the southeast, possibly pulling up some milder air from the southwest into eastern parts of America. For us, we've got this deep trough of low pressure in the northern part of the Atlantic, centered around Greenland, so the strong polar vortex we've had through most of the winter really goes on. The tight lines here indicating the jet stream coming across the Atlantic, so quite a strong jet stream running through the Atlantic in towards the British Isles. Then, of course, got all this ridging down to the south. Now, with time, this trough up to the north west of the country may start to lift out a little bit and push off further north, allowing this ridge to begin to build up from the south and the southwest somewhat. We've also got signs of above average height setting up to the east and the northeast of the country. Certainly on the GFS, the E70F doesn't show it as much. What could happen is that this ridge down to the south and the southwest may start to build up to this ridge up to the northeast, and if that happens, it could start to flip winds in towards an easterly, southeasterly type flow. It's probably a low risk. What will probably happen is that high pressure will just finish up sitting over the top of the country, but we've got to be watching out for it. There's that ridging up to the northeast, and if the high pressures do sort of ridge together, we could finish up with some sort of colder easterly type flow. The GFS temperature and precipitation ensemble shows it's going to be very unsettled for the coming week anyway. Starts off with the temperatures though. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, a bit below average at the moment. We'll be going above average later this week as we bring quite a deep area of low pressure to the north of Scotland, then below average again. So that's all a bit of a zonal sine wave type pattern going through to the start of March, March 1st being just here. After that, probably going a little bit below average for a few days. And then we get a lot of scatter in this sort of zone here in the second part of the ensemble, as we often do actually, as you get through to the second week of the GFS ensembles. You tend to get quite a lot of scatter coming through. But I think overall, once you get through into the start of March, a few days, we could go a little bit cooler than average, potentially. Having a look at the precipitation spikes, we see plenty of precipitation coming through over the next few days, go up to the 3rd of March and bring quite a bit of rain through. After that, there is a little bit of a drying trend, I think, in evidence in the second half of the ensemble, so through to the second week, essentially, of March. Things could start to dry out a bit, and that could be signs of the high pressure beginning to build in, but certainly the rest of February and into the first few days of March staying unsettled. The temperature anomaly from the 23rd to the 3rd of March, from the 3rd of February to the 3rd of March is coming out about average. The rainfall anomaly coming out a bit above average, so near normal temperatures, above average rainfall. It's not going to be a terribly inspiring start to the spring. So having a look at the generic chances for GFS, 6 o'clock run, latest run. We've got low pressure coming in on Saturday. There was a suggestion that could bring some very mild air in for the weekend. I think we're probably going to just about miss that now. These areas of low pressure are looking quite vigorous over the weekend. So instead of getting sort of a warm push from the Azores, we probably will turn it a bit milder on Saturday in particular. But it looks unsettled. There'll be rain probably coming through with that. And then quite a deep area of low pressure pushing through into sunny, so any warmth that does come up on Saturday may get to around 11-12 degrees on Saturday afternoon, but any warmth that does come up will quickly be pushed off as we go through into Sunday, with the isobars again back in towards the northwest, bringing another cooler push in. Going through into Monday, the 2nd of March, and low pressure is firmly dominated, so bringing showers, longer spells of rain. Tuesday the 3rd, a little area of low pressure dipping through the channel. That's quite interesting. On the northern edge of that, there could be some wintry conditions, believe it or not. It's relatively cold on the top end of that low pressure, northern side of the low pressure, so have to watch out for that one. But it's probably going to be removed on the next run of the GFS 12 o'clock run. It'll probably go. It's one of those little features that just crops up, and we're talking about sort of 192 hours over a week away, so I would suspect that may be removed. But if it did come off like that, it could bring some heavy rain to the south and possibly something a bit wintry further north. And then we end up on day 10. This takes us to the 5th of March, and we see that we're building heights to the east lot over Scandinavia as these areas of low pressure are beginning to get blocked out to west. That's just what I was talking about with 500 millibar height anomaly flow chart. Just got to watch out, I think, as we go through towards the end of the first week of March, building some sort of ridge in, and we may start to build heights to the east of the country, so need to be aware of that. The EWF for a week's time, bringing that westerly flow in across the country, so staying unsettled into the start of March, and that goes on through much of next week. We go through to day 10, Thursday the 5th. Heights are building, but this one is further south, so we're not building it up over Scandinavia, we're building it up somewhere around Germany and below countries, which could turn things a bit drier and potentially quite mild actually down in the south. But it wouldn't take much of an adjustment to push this high pressure up to Scandinavia. The GEM not interested in building heights. It stays very unsettled throughout the whole of next week, and here we go up to day 10 with low pressure firmly in control there, bringing quite a bit of wet weather across the country. Just show you the midnight run of the GFS. I've still got a save the charts, and you can see that what happened with the midnight run of the GFS, that we did build these heights to the northeast, and eventually we built quite a significant area of high pressure up over Scandinavia. Look, about 1,050 millibars, shifted the winds into the east by Monday the 9th of March, and we bring in a cold easterly wind, the -5 ice firms clearing the country, so bitterly cold easterly winds feeding in there for Monday the 9th, with snow showers coming in from the east. That's probably over the top. It wasn't well supported by any of the other models really, but if we do get this high pressure building up to the east, and the 6 o'clock run shows the same sort of idea. Anyway, didn't take it as far as the midnight run of the GFS, but it sort of shows the same idea with the heights trying to build to the northeast. If that does happen, we have got to watch out for the winds going into the east and possibly bring some cold and wintry conditions off the continent. Even though we are going into spring, still very possible to get cold weather and snow, of course. So we've got to be watching out for that. But in the more immediate time frame, well, rest of this week, over weekend, into next week, we're looking at unsettled conditions, more bands of wind and rain coming in, a very unsettled end to winter and a very unsettled start to spring. Beyond that, possibly looking at heights building. If it happens over country, it'll be nice and spring-like. If it happens to the northeast, winter bites back. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.